Welcome to the Mindset, Magic, and Manifestation podcast hosted by me, Michaela J. Get ready to dive into an action-packed, bougie-based, and spiritually guided experience on all things manifesting your next level Lux life. Let's go. Gorgeous. Welcome back to the Mindset, Magic, and Manifestation podcast with your girl. It is I, the Michaela J, here to teach you how to manifest your next level Lux life, baby. Happy Wednesday. Oh my gosh, how happy I am to sit down and talk to you this lovely Wednesday. Now, I want today's episode to be a little bit of like an update, a chit chat. Like I am treating this as if you are sitting here in my office with me and we're just like having a cold brew. We're comfy. It's fall vibes. We've got a candle going, probably some Palo Santo. And we're catching up. We're having a girl talk about what happens when you up level and what the F has been going on in my life. And then the best part of this is when you're listening to this, I'm actually going to be in Paris. That is my life. I'm recording this a couple days in advance. And I went to get coffee this morning and I was chatting with one of my favorite baristas and she's like, how are you this morning? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good. Tomorrow I leave for Paris. And she looks me dead in the eyes and she goes, Jesus Christ. It's a new thing every week with you because I have just been so all over since August. This summer has just been insane. Okay. So like, let's just jump into it. Like this is like a life chat, a catch up. And you know, we're getting back into it. I've got a little green tea here from Trader Joe's. If you know, you know. Okay. Anyways, so this summer has been so insane. Like what the heck? In June, I was traveling every single month. The first weekend of June, I was in St. Louis for First Form's Summer Smash event, which was incredible. Flew first class, stayed at the Four Seasons, made amazing friends, like truly the best time ever. It was a mind blown, had these like crazy realizations in business and in life. And maybe we can talk about that in another podcast episode of how in-person things just like totally shift everything for you. And I'm so excited because I'm going to my next in-person event in November in Florida, which is going to be incredible. But anyway, so I was in St. Louis and then I came home and then I was where was I after that? I literally had to pause and open up my calendar because I could not remember. So after St. Louis, the second weekend of June, my husband and I flew back to California to surprise my father-in-law for Father's Day, which was such a blast, a little family weekend back home in California. And then the third weekend of June, I was in Charleston hosting an event, a little VIP dinner for some of the girls in my membership. And then my bestie Kara came from New York and we had a girls' weekend. And then the weekend after that, I was home. But I spoke at a retreat, my client's retreat, and then I had a client in town for a VIP day and a half, which was amazing. Then it was suddenly July. We ran the R Squared Challenge, the Relentless Revolution, which was next level nuts. Like I was just like, it was just such a locked in month. And at the end of July is when I headed to Europe and I hosted my Europe retreat in Greece and in Italy, which was insane. And then I came home and I was home for a bit and then I was up leveling like crazy. And then my life was like, hey girl, we're going to crash and burn around you and see if you can handle it. So that was August. And then at the beginning of September, the end of August, I actually was in Canada. I was in Vancouver meeting a Canadian client of mine for her VIP day. And it was so much fun. It was so incredible. Came home for like a week. And then I went to Hawaii. I was in Maui literally last week, which is insane. My husband and I met with my in-laws. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. We went on the sunset boat tour, got some good sun. It was incredible. Like walked around the island, walked in the rain. Like, oh my gosh, I love Maui. It's such a beautiful island. And I love that Ritz-Carlton. And then this week, when you're listening to this, I will be on a plane to Paris, if not already there, where I will be for a week with my mom. So holy F, like, oh my gosh, so much going on to the point where I'm like, holy crap, like my baristas are like, girl, when are you home? After Hawaii, I came back and one of my girls at the coffee shop was like, I have not seen you. Are you well? And I was like, yeah, I was just in Hawaii. So it has been nuts over here, needless to say. And like I hinted in there, August and a lot of September has been this big like shedding period of my life. And I think it's so valuable to like sit down and have this kind of chit chat and catch up because, oh my goodness, when you're up leveling and things are moving a million miles an hour, and like I had created like so much momentum and like so many up levels, and not that it stopped at all, still reaping the rewards, right? But oh my goodness. Sometimes life catches up and the universe gives you this moment and you have to kind of prove that you are the next level version of yourself. Because I had such a successful June traveling around and hosting clients and doing client things and just socializing. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but this year I've been so much more social than I have ever been pretty much in my entire life, like actively seeking out social activities. And I'm constantly like doing something on a weekend. I'm traveling, I'm with people, I'm on FaceTime. So because I have friends all over the world, like there's always a socialization going on. So it's like adjusting to that, adjusting to lots of travel. And then I ran my challenge in July with a ton of people. I think there was almost like over 150 people on the challenge, which was nuts. And then to go on the most insane and will host the most insane European retreat. Like Caleb, my best friend, came with me to be my assistant. Like we flew business class there and back. Like I chartered a private jet for my clients from Greece to Italy, which we'll have to do a whole episode breaking that down. Like my private jet manifestation, like so crazy. And then flying home business class, and you just like come off of these highs, high. It's working, it's going high. And when you come home after a phase like that, or it kind of ends, a lot of times there's a big energy crash. If you've ever been on a vacation and you come home and you just like get the post-vacay blues, it can feel like that sometimes. But that, I believe, is when we are being tested to see if we can hold the next level. Because for example, with the retreat, it was so beautiful, like beautiful villas, like the best time, getting in our steps, like being in the ocean, walking around Firenze, Florence, like just the wine, the experience, the outfits, the jet, the boat, the Mercedes Sprinter vans, like having all of these like really incredible high energy vision board manifestations, and then going home and knowing that that's not every single day. And an activity I actually give a lot of my clients, especially my business girls, is tell me about a dream day in your life if you are working full-time in your business. And if you're not a business girly, like tell me a dream day in your life, like in a dream day or like your dreamed career, like you can take that in any direction. But I tell them, give me one that's a dream day, period, and another that is a dream day at home, because these are two very different things. And it's something that I think I struggled with for a long time at the beginning of my manifestation journey, because I would journal about like this dream day. Actually, this is so funny. It's bringing up this memory for me. When I lived in Bali in 2020, I lived in this like private villa complex. Okay. So it was fully gated. You would walk in and there were 4 separate private villas. So each of us had our own space and our own little patio and had our own like bathroom, kitchen, closet, of course. And then we had like a main big kitchen, dining room table. We had a pool, like we had a little yoga area. It was such a vibe. And I lived with like 3 guys. We all had our separate villas. And they were all entrepreneurs, and all of them were actually working together, except for one guy was working at Mind Valley. And I remember the 2 guys that were working together, we were all like sitting down, hanging out at the pool or something one day. And they said that something they do is write down their dream day every single morning. They had a mentor tell them to do that every single morning, write down what would be the dream day. And it's not that it's the same one you're writing over and over again. It might end up being similar, but it's just the practice of writing out your dreams every single day. And I have a couple practices that are similar to this for clients. But anyways, whenever I would do that, 2020 and prior to 2020, I would always write about travel. I'd be like, oh my gosh, a dream day in the life would be like waking up and having a private chef make my breakfast and I have a lemon water ready and I get sunshine. I'm doing a cold plunge and put my feet in the grass and then I'm getting dressed and I've got a makeup artist coming and then I get picked up in this, I don't know, then a Lambo truck and we get on a private jet and we fly to Monaco and I shop till I drop, like whatever. It literally always included travel and these like super extravagant things. And those are still like a luxury dream day, dream life. Honestly, some of my normal experiences while traveling now because I've manifested that. But then there's this crash. When you're not in that, what are you in? And that's when you feel like you're in the mundane day to day. And that is where our energy crashes after vacations. This is why I ask clients to write about like, what's a dream day in your life, period, and what's a dream day at home? Again, two very different vibes. And I think that anytime we come off of a really incredible experience, whether it's a trip you go on, a retreat, whether it's you even go to like a conference in your city or your first week at a new job or, whatever, even the first week dating a new person, you're like, oh my gosh, all my dreams are coming true. This is incredible. Like I feel amazing. If you do like a competition in your city, like a big photo shoot, like it could be anything that feels big. It's like an up level. So after that, the real work begins of how can I feel this bigness, this up level, this vision board, these dream things on a normal day-to-day basis. That is the test we get.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
When your investors, customers, and workers demand more from your business, make it happen with SAP. The AI-powered capabilities of SAP can help you streamline costs, connect with new suppliers, and manage payroll, even when your business is being pulled in different directions. To deliver a quality product at a fair price, while paying your people what they're worth too, so your business can stay unfazed. Learn more at sap.com/uncertainty.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
And when we are expanding our mindset, expanding our energy, expanding our vision board, we've got to be tapped into what that energy looks like on a day-to-day basis. I think a lot of people will get down and out, depressed, anxious in the day-to-day because they're not finding these ways, this very thing I'm talking about, of how to make your day at home a dream life. Because once you come home, all of that's going to hit. And I use this example a lot when we're talking about limiting beliefs. Like when you clear out a limiting belief from your mind, you have to decide what new belief goes in place of that. So for example, with money, if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, like I am only going to get paid on my payday. Like how am I going to make it to that next payout, client, paycheck, whatever? You are creating this belief that the only way you receive money is through work. So when we take that out, we remove that. What is the belief that we want to put in? Well, money can come from anywhere all the time, from any resource. Like money is an unlimited resource. It can flow in from any time, any place, any person. So that's the new belief that we have plugged in. And a lot of times I use this example as we clean out a junk drawer in our house. And if we don't designate what this junk drawer is going to be for, then it just becomes another junk drawer. You just fill it with random stuff. Your day-to-day life is that when you're coming into up levels and expansion. It's like, okay, just came off this big thing, just had this big up level moment. How do I fill in my life to maintain this energy? So that occurs after the big up level. But there's also, I just feel like a series of tests that happen every single freaking time I'm doing something like this. Okay. It becomes immediately apparent where you need to make your day to day vibe, where you're just like letting the mundane be mundane rather than take control over that narrative and over your reality. Two, you see what is no longer working in your life. After you elevate your vibration and how you're feeling and your experiences and your levels of happiness, you see what's no longer in alignment with that, and it becomes super obvious. And if you don't deal with it, it gets louder and louder and louder. I always say this to my clients, like, if you are not learning the lesson is going to put itself on speakerphone. Like, it's going to be in your face until it's a real problem. Like, and you can't avoid it anymore. So you come home and you see all these things, or you realize some beliefs you've had, like limiting beliefs that just aren't going to be able to go with you to the next level. I am always replacing my beliefs, because at every new level, you need new ones. And I actually was making some content around this on my Instagram stories a couple days ago. Like, if you told me where you were at in your month, whether that's happiness, income, fitness, relation, anything, if you just give me a synopsis of where your month is at, I can tell you exactly what your beliefs are, because your beliefs are dictating your results. So if you're not at the place you want to be this month, it is a belief thing that needs to be reprogrammed. And a lot of times our beliefs are our own bottleneck, because we'll plug in new beliefs when we start our personal development journey, when we are doing our journaling, meditation, however you like to do it. You're just talking to yourself out loud sometimes. And we plug in these beliefs and then we never upgrade them, or we think that they're still working for us, but in fact, it's actually limiting us and creating a new glass ceiling. And this is why mentorship is so powerful, because I can have one conversation with my clients and be like, well, you're only telling me this because of that actual fear that you won't look at, but I can see it. So I'm going to call it out. Right. And if you need to do some of this limiting belief work, message me on Instagram, because I have an exclusive 3-month one-to-one coaching package available right now, literally called Belief Bitch. And so we can work on these beliefs. After an up level, you see what beliefs can't go with you. And so you've got to take note of that and make those changes, make those adjustments so things don't blow up in your face, right? And then your life will just rearrange as well. Because now you have shown the universe and yourself, like, hey, this is my new norm. This is the new way I do things. This is my new level of happiness. This is my new level, my new peace of mind, my new levels of movement. Deal with it. And sometimes things will blow up so that you can have that. The difficult part about this, well, I don't like to use that word. The challenging part about this is when your life feels like it's blowing up. It feels like everything is going wrong. Like, it truly feels like the end of the world. You're not going to make it. Like, it's one thing after another. And I'll tell you a personal story about this too, because I empathize. Like, that's me. I get it. I'm right there with you in the battlefield. And it just like, it feels so heavy. It feels so intense. And you have to focus your energy on being in the end zone. You have to focus on your energy on being on the other side, being done with it, like literally being on the other side of the narrative, or else it will consume you. Because the feelings that you're feeling about whatever is rearranging in your life currently, I promise you the feelings are 20 times stronger than what the reality is. Because when I was going through like so many things happening one after another, I really felt like, oh my gosh, like my world is ending. Like, this is not okay. And like, it feels so, it's all consuming, right? And I had to keep reminding myself, like, this feels really bad, but that's because my body's alert. That's because I'm not used to this happening. That's because I didn't expect this to happen. I'm thrown off my game, right? Your nervous system gets a little shaken up. That doesn't mean things are actually crashing and burning. Like, my heart doesn't need to race like I'm being chased by a fucking lion. Like, that's not what's going on. And we have to remind ourselves the feelings are so much bigger than the realistic, like the real life things happening. And when we can calm our emotional responses in that way to remind ourselves like, hey, These are big feelings and they're valid and you can feel them, but it doesn't dictate your actual reality. These are just your feelings. It doesn't dictate your actual reality. Like you get to decide what your reality is, okay? Feel through your feelings and then make an assessment, but don't make the assessment while you're in heightened emotions, right? So for example, I came back from my retreat and things, I'm not kidding, every week something new was happening. And I was like, oh my God, there's got to be like some crazy ass retrogrades happening right now. I'm in a shedding season. I'm learning a lot of effing lessons. And it's funny because earlier in the year, I think it was like the end of Q1, I had kind of made the declaration or the intention that I was like really going to step into my leadership energy this year. And I have had to lead myself through some crazy ass shit that I can't even tell you on the internet, truly. It's some crazy stuff, okay? You always get the lessons that you ask for, so ask carefully, my love. But like one week after another of something else going wrong. I'm not kidding. Like literally it was come home. Okay, let's take some time to relax and recharge after this incredible trip. Like this retreat was a masterpiece. This was incredible. This was amazing. Something goes wrong, right? Like, and then it's like, okay. Now we get to celebrate me and Austin's dating anniversary. Yay, amazing. Okay, and then something goes wrong. And then it's like, okay, great. I'm doing this new photo shoot. It's this like 4-hour video photo shoot. This sick $1 million house is incredible. Like we're going to stay an extra day and hang out at the pool, get in a car crash. Like I am not making this stuff up. And then you get back in a good zone. It's like, okay, great. It's my business anniversary, like 7 years in business. This is crazy. I get bit by a dog. And then like traveling in between everything. Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. So many things that punch you in the face. But it's so incredible because it gives you this moment of clarity, or you have to create this moment of clarity, honestly, to look at what's going on around you and ask, what's the lesson here? What do I need to learn? What do I need to let go? What is this showing me? What is this teaching me? Like, honestly, why is this happening? You know, we step out of victimhood mindset of like, why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? And we step into like, I remember at the beginning of my personal development journey, literally asked myself, well, why not me? I remember thinking so vividly when I lived in the raccoon house, if you know, you know, like, why not me? I can handle it. I'm strong. I can deal with this. I'd rather I handle it than somebody else. Why not me? And then you get into this next level where it's like, okay, like, why is this happening? Like, what was I not prepared for? What was I not thinking of? What was I maybe doing too quickly? What was I not seeing before? So the universe had to get louder and louder and louder. And also, when this is all happening after a massive up level, I look at it as a sign to go inwards and recreate your next level, because you have, like for me, I had this incredible summer of travel and momentum and these wild experiences, and you move so quickly and it's like, okay, great. Now we have to intentionally create an identity to catch up with literally the reality. There are a lot of times in manifestation, you're stepping into an identity and then reality catches up, right? And that's how we start to manifest faster, because you're already being your next level self. But sometimes your next level selfing a little bit too hard, and life manifestations move faster than your identity does. And so for me, after this like big summer and this big moment, these big manifestations, and I remember literally like in the airport headed to Europe, being like, this is the happiest chapter of my life. I feel so aligned. Like, oh my gosh, all these things are happening. This is crazy. And then you have to take a moment and reassess the new identity, because when you go through these experiences, your manifestations, your up levels, hardship, complications, inconveniences, there is so much happening at all angles. This one expands your energetic capacity, 1,000%. 2, it expands your ability to respond rather than react, you know, something we talk about a lot over here. And then 3, it shows you more of what you do want and what you don't want in life. And I feel like that has been my summer, is this fine fine-tooth combing process of what do I want in my life? What do I not want in my life? What am I willing to tolerate? What am I absolutely not going to tolerate? What boundaries need to be set? What standards need to be increased? And who am I on this side? Like I said, a lot of times our identity work with manifestation is we create the identity and the manifestations follow. And then other times it's about actually getting to know the version of you on the other side. I think we are in personal development oftentimes pushing forward. And that is like so me. Keep your foot on the freaking gas. So me. That when we pushed forward, we have to get to know ourselves. And I remember sitting at my desk, looking at my vision board a couple weeks ago, not seeing myself in it at all. Like I see it and I'm looking at my vision board right now and it's got like matcha, it's got wellness, it's got the gym, it's got, lemon water, which like I have right next to me, wine, the beach, sauna, cold plunge, a perfectly packed suitcase, Paris, like all things that are a part of me that I do, that I have, that I've created this year. But what I mean by like, I don't see any of myself in it is I created this vision board in December, right? Like it's September and I love to rotate different types of vision boards. I do, I have a whole episode about this that I did in January. I have a year one. Sometimes I do monthly ones. I do vision boards for specific manifestations that I'm working towards. I've got my Pinterest board, vision boards, but I was just looking at specifically my year-long board. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't see any of myself in this because I have grown. I've changed so much. My identity has shifted so much who I am. And I feel that the past bit has really been like me rediscovering myself. And I was talking to a friend about this recently, and this is so fascinating to me. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am just totally rambling. Let me know. You'll have to DM me on Instagram and be like, and let me know if you're getting value from this. I'm sure somebody is. Or comment on Spotify. There's comments on Spotify, and let me know what part of this is resonating with you, what you needed to hear. And then, like I said, shoot me a message over on Instagram if you want the details about my 3-month one-to-one coaching program, Belief Bitch, where we're going to reprogram those beliefs that are keeping you stuck that you probably don't realize you have. Anyway, so I was talking to a friend about this recently, that at the beginning of my spiritual journey, when I was living in Nebraska, I remember being a different version of myself around every person. Like I would go to university and I would be that version of me. When I would travel, I would be a different version of me. When I was on Instagram and teaching and talking about mindset and manifestation, different version of me. When I would hang out with friends, different version of me. Like I'd hang out with family, another version. Every single place I went was a different version of me. Even when I would work out with my college trainer, I would show up and it was a different version of me. And that is exhausting. And I talk to a lot of clients about this, of like dissolving these multiple personalities that we put on, basically this code switching that we have with ourselves. And I worked a long time to dissolve all that to be like one whole version of Michaela. And I was talking to a friend recently and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have changed and evolved and shifted and experienced and thought about so many things over the past few years. I feel like I'm at that place again where I need to dissolve into one new version of myself, where I'm noticing in some areas where I show up in certain ways, and in other areas I'm having different types of conversations and I present myself differently, or I feel differently around certain people, where there's certain things I talk about with some people and certain things I don't talk about with others, right? Just for example, like these are all things that we all experience. And I was telling a friend that it's so interesting how we learn a lesson and then it gets refined at each level. It's not that I didn't learn the lesson the first time, because I did. And I dissolved those multiple sides of me into one version of me. But now that I'm at a new level, it looks different.
At Talus, we know cybersecurity can be tough and you can't protect everything, but with Talus, you can secure what matters most. With Talus industry-leading platforms, you can protect critical applications, data, and identities anywhere and at scale with the highest ROI. That's why the most trusted brands and largest banks, retailers, and healthcare companies in the world rely on Talus to protect what matters most: applications, data, and identities. That's Talus, T-H-A-L-E-S. Learn more at talusgroup.com/cyber.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste,
zero BS, and obviously, zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers. Those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night. Have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious vitamin water zero sugar today.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
It's like new levels, new devils, but it's not always a new lesson. And that is something that I have really seen over these past 2 months of going through this massive up level and like navigating some massive storms along with it, is that it's not always a new lesson. It's taking a lesson we've learned before and applying it at the new level without any dialogue that you didn't do it good enough the first time, because that's not true. There's plenty of lessons that we learn the lesson, you dump the shit guy, you feel better about yourself, right? And then you up level and then it's like, okay, well now we need to increase our self-worth and self-image again. Okay, cool. It doesn't mean you didn't do it the first time. It means we're going to take it to another level. And when we can have this perspective, it's really life-changing because we no longer need to seek like these new methods over and over and over again, and like having this like spiritual junkie fix of like, I need the next thing and I need this and I need that over here and I need that method and I need this method. And it's like, okay, I've learned these lessons. Out of the lessons I've learned before, how can I apply that to my life right now? How can I look at where I'm at right now and use those lessons? I learned them so I can move through things faster and differently the next time around. And I feel like for me, it's okay, great. Let's rediscover who we are in this completely new chapter, right? And it doesn't have to be anything crazy external. Like there's not a lot that's like externally like super different about my life. Like, yeah, every time I travel, that gets up leveled and that changes, but it's like, I still like live in my house. I have my cars, my marriage and my friends. It's like not a lot of things have changed outwardly, but I feel changed inwardly. And that's all you need to reach this point of shifting. So re-getting to know myself in this new identity and redeciding what that identity is. And I love to do this. This is such a fun, like silly little thing. I love to do this by writing down hobbies. Like, what hobbies am I interested in right now? And I saw a super interesting video online the other day saying that when you up level and you're changing your life, the first thing about you that changes is your fashion, like the clothes you wear. And I thought that was so interesting. I feel like my sense of style has been changing, and the hobbies that I want to start spending time on, you know, for example, after coming back from the retreat, I started taking Italian lessons. So I speak French, English, obviously. Now I'll speak Italian, which is, well, I can only tell you one sentence, but that's all. But I'm going to be, and I am learning Italian and I want to learn Spanish. It's like, okay, what is calling to me right now? Who am I right now? What do I want to improve right now? And I realized I wanted to improve that sense of turning on different versions of me at different times. And then, you know what happens when you do that, when you have that level of separation, is you never feel like yourself. And that ends up being a really lonely feeling. I was on one of my many plane rides watching Eat, Pray, Love. And one quote that she said in the movie is that she's like looking at these photos of her and her husband that she ends up divorcing. Sorry, spoiler. But it's like at the beginning of the movie, so it's okay. Anyway, she looks at all these photos and she was like, just don't understand how I could have consciously been a part of creating this life that I see none of myself in. And that's the feeling you get when you've compartmentalized. And that's how I really felt the first time I learned this lesson, like many, many years ago. And now I don't have that same strong of a feeling, but that's how it feels. It's like, oh my gosh, I've created this reality where I don't feel like myself all of the time. And let me just tell you and give you this kind of permission, is like, you deserve to live a life that screams you, that just like exhilarates you, exalts you. Like it just, somebody could look at a single photo in your camera roll and they're like, yep, that's you all the way. That's you for sure. When we landed in Maui and met with my in-laws, my parent-in-laws, my mother and father-in-law. I don't know why that sounds so weird. My in-laws, whatever. They had a different flight than us. And they walked up, and my father-in-law walked up and looked at me, gave me a hug, and he goes, "Oh, this is so you. I can just see it on your face." And he was meaning like traveling, being on an island, being in warm weather. He just knows like that's my zone. We did, without even saying anything. He was like, "Oh, hey, I'm so happy to see you. Like, this is so you." Without me saying anything, right? We were just in the airport. We weren't even at the hotel yet, just in the airport. Like, you deserve to live a life that makes you glow, that you see yourself in, that people feel that's like, yeah, that's you. And sometimes that takes some tinkering around and some adjustments, and that can be scary, presenting a new version of you. And I feel like there's so many lessons I learned at the beginning of my personal development journey that I'm getting to do all over again in such a high level way now. And it's honestly pretty fun. It makes me feel like I'm kind of starting over, which is really cool, but you're starting over from such a different stage. And so now it's like, ooh, okay, who do I want to be? Like, who is this version of myself? But also, who am I deciding to be? What is she interested in? What's her style? But like, how does she talk? How does she walk? How does she enter a room? What is on her vision board? What are her dreams? What are her priorities? Even going back to, what was your word of the year? What were your priorities this year? Does she align with that? Or for these last few months, do you need to pick a new word? Do you need to pick new priorities? Like, F it, change it if you want. Like, how does she speak? Like, I feel like in this phase, like I cuss less. I'll say like F it instead. I obviously still cuss. I do cuss a little, if you know the Miranda Cosgrove meme. But I cuss less than before. I don't know. I just like, there's just a different vibe that goes on. And this is what happens when you have huge up levels. It causes you to look inward and really get to enjoy the up level as this current version of yourself. And sometimes our feet move faster than our brains. And so we just get to have this minute where it feels like your life is crashing and burning. And it's like, why is all this happening? What the F? Like, what's going on? And you get to decide what you want to do with it, okay? And who you want to be throughout it and where your energy goes, right? So those are my thoughts lately. That is where I've been at and what has been going on. It has been absolute craziness. But now, when you're listening to this, I am in Paris and life is good because life cannot be bad when you are in Paris, eating croissants, drinking wine, watching the Eiffel Tower sparkle. I'm still coaching my clients while I'm in Paris. And actually tonight, when you guys are listening to this, I have a call with some of my clients at midnight. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be such a vibe. Like, call from Paris at midnight. Like, I'll be having a little espresso and we're going to just rock it out. But I'll have jet lag because of the time change. So it'll be perfect. It'll be like, it'll really usher me into bed, which will be really nice. And I just can't wait. It's like creating a life and a business where I get to pack up and be all over the world. Like, at the beginning of the month, when I was in Vancouver, I was walking around the city with my favorite smoothie. If you live in Canada, Body Energy Club, the vegan smoothies are incredible. And I was walking around the city, walking by the water, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been to 5 countries in the last 30 days. That was at the beginning of September. 5 countries. I was like, that is insane. And still working and still running my business, and it all gets to work, and it's all working all of the time. You know, one of my favorite affirmations is it's working, it's twerking. And then even this month, like I've only been home 1 weekend this month. Like, it is just insane to be in and out and in and out. And talking with my friend who's the barista this morning, she's like, Jesus Christ, it's just something new with you every single week. It makes me so grateful for my life and all of the times that I went through these lessons that we're talking about. at the beginning when I didn't know how to respond versus react, when I didn't know how to become one version of myself, when I didn't know how to create a dream day being at home and getting to know myself and give myself permission to make adjustments and changes. Like, I'm so glad I pushed through when I didn't have the guidance, and now I have it and it gets to be easier. And I also get to share it with you on the podcast, in my programs, with my clients. It makes me so grateful, because this is what happens when you keep going, truly, when you keep pushing through, when it's hard, when it's confusing, when you feel like your world is ending because everything is going up in flames. This is what you get to have on the other side. And that is just the most incredible feeling. And when you hold that close and you keep, like I said earlier, keep your energy and your mind in the end zone, man, the other side's so good. Like it's going to blow your mind, and you're looking at your vision board and you're like, I'm so tired of making new vision boards all the time because I'm outgrowing them so freaking quickly. And that's how I feel. I'm like, oh my God, I have to go find more inspo pictures. I'm like, how much more inspo can I get than this fucking vision board? But I want it to be something that excites me. So it's kind of like new levels, new challenges. And what has been on my mind lately, okay? I am so excited to bring more of these conversations to the podcast, and we have some exciting rebranding stuff coming in the background that we have been tinkering with. It's just, I don't know, everything just always gets better and better and better, and you can expect that from me all of the time. It's always getting better and better and better. Like I said, right now I have a couple spots open for a 3-month one-to-one program mentorship with me. It's called Belief Bitch, where we are going to dive into your beliefs. Like I said, I can listen to you talk for less than 2 minutes about how your month is going and immediately tell you what's going on in your head, what's blocking you, where your energy is staying stuck, what is out of alignment, and what we need to do about it and what direction we need to go to start making those changes. My coaching is very action-based. I don't like to sit on it. I'm not going to tell you to go meditate on it. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on and this is what we're going to do about it. And I think 3 months is just the best way to end this year of completely recharging your belief system. If you come into this space, you're going to be a completely different person by the end of December. Like, how incredible. What a gift to give yourself to become a new human before 2026. I love it. If you are interested in Belief Bitch, shoot me a DM over on Instagram. You can just message me the word belief. You can say, I'm interested in Belief Bitch. Tell me about the 1-to-1 3-month program, whatever. So we've got that going on. And then we also are starting to book VIP weekends for 2026. We've got some incredible locations available. We can go to Paris. We can go to Spain. You want to go to Mexico? Let's do it. They're starting to get booked up. So make sure you shoot me a message so you can reserve either a VIP day or a VIP weekend. The locations for a VIP day are more limited because it's just one day together. But with a VIP weekend, we can pretty much decide we want to go anywhere. And I want to take someone to Paris. So somebody DM me about going to Paris for a VIP weekend in 2026. It will be so incredible. I hope you loved this catch-up style episode of me. Thank you for listening to just riff out my thoughts, tell you what's been going on, what I've been thinking about, the shifts that I've been creating. I hope this resonated with you. Let me know on Spotify in the comments what stood out to you in this episode, what resonated with you. And I would love if you shared over on your Instagram stories of you listening to the episode. I want to see what you're doing. Put a little screenshot, you at the gym doing dishes, getting ready, like whatever you're doing. I love to see what you guys are out and about doing when you're listening. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm at @BMichaelaJ, and you need to tune in because you're about to get all of the Paris content over the next week. Okay. Thanks so much for listening. I look forward to catching up with you next Wednesday when I'm back home from Paris. Love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to leave a 5-star rate and review. I love hearing your takeaways and wins from the podcast in the review section, so don't forget. Love you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.